What is going on with property insurance in Florida? And what will this mean for getting coverage in the future? We're going to go over these points, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be sharing how to help keep your insurance costs down whether you're looking to move or already a resident. If this is your first time to my channel, my name is Nicole, and I'm a realtor who specializes in condo and second home purchases for out-of-town buyers in Sarasota, Florida, and her surrounding areas. Before I get into this topic, though, one quick disclaimer. I am not an insurance broker or specialist. Don't substitute what I'm about to share with actually talking to a licensed property insurance agent, which I can get you some great referrals to. They will give you the most current updates on the evolving insurance situation. Okay, now that that's out of the way, it's no secret that Florida is a high-risk state. I mean, hurricanes and increased costs and litigation due to insurance claim lawsuits have caused a strain. But what may be the straw that broke the camel's back was the most recent scam in roofing claims, and of course, Hurricane Ian in September of 2022. So what is this roofing fraud and what has it done? Here's kind of a great breakdown. The scam works like this. Contractors knock on doors offering to inspect homeowners' roofs for damage. They say that they can help get a roof replacement covered by insurance, and they persuade the homeowners to sign away their rights to file the claims themselves, in other words, making themselves beneficiaries. This seems like they're doing the homeowners a favor, making it easier for them. The contractors then file fraudulent damage claims, and when the insurance companies balk, the contractors sue. So the insurance companies usually settle the disputed claims for many times more than the original claim. Most of that money goes to the contractor's lawyers in the form of a contingency fee multiplier. Some lawyers file hundreds of such lawsuits a year. The homeowner may get a free roof, but everyone pays for it through increased rates. You can imagine there's a lot going on here. Homeowners need to be educated and never sign over their beneficiary rights to contractors. That will be the first and best line of defense in keeping these types of fraud claims from happening. With the higher risk of storms, increased litigation costs, and higher quantities of insurance claims, you can see how someone needs to eat these costs, and those are what is passed on to policy owners. Fortunately, the legislature has already begun the reform process by not allowing the reassignment of benefits and providing coverage options for consumers. Besides coverage and litigation issues, there's this big issue that I don't hear too many people talking about. Since the tragic Surfside condo incident in Miami in June of 2021, it became evident that many condo communities were severely lacking in infrastructure maintenance or updates. Maintenance and updates had been deferred, and reserves that had been put in place possibly decades earlier no longer cover what the cost would be to make those updates or maintenance today. So a little side note, reserves are what they call money set aside for items that are not line items in the budget. Usually roofs and exterior maintenance are line items in the budget, but unexpected expenses such as increased premiums and broken pool pumps aren't, and that's why there are always reserves. A healthier reserve is obviously better for a community, but a lot of times this is where they will try to save money and keep costs down. So who eats those costs to bring those reserves back up? You guessed it, the homeowner. Now, because these reserves are underfunded, when you look at a property in this community, a loan company will see low reserves as a greater risk, because it means that in the future, assessments could be made or monthly HOA fees could go up, making affordability harder and potentially leading to default. With increased carrying costs or potentially higher defaults, the costs of maintaining coverage and keeping healthy reserves go up because they have to account for the possibility of unit vacancies. Now, make no mistake, this doesn't just apply to condos and townhomes. This is in any community, even single-family home residential communities, where there are HOA fees. If a community is needing to insure any structure, this would apply. Finally, besides the insurance fraud claims and the underfunded reserves we're dealing with, insurance companies leaving the state. So because there are fewer companies offering coverage within the state, your options are fewer. And servicing companies can charge what they want, knowing that we need coverage. I want to point out one other thing that a lot of people don't realize. Believe it or not, insurance companies also take out insurance against their policies. So for instance, Citizens, which is our state-mandated insurance company that covers many properties here in Florida, go and take out insurance against their policy's coverage. The idea is that they won't go bankrupt should every single person file a claim in the same month. I know, it sounds crazy, but this is called reinsurance, and they pay for this, so obviously they pass on that cost to policy owners. And it's turning out that their reinsurance coverage is also becoming more expensive, as fewer companies are willing to underwrite this coverage. Reinsurance options are also on the list of things being looked at in the legislature to help control rising insurance costs. Where do we go from here? What does the future of property insurance look like for Florida? What I believe is one of the strongest solutions, it's actually something that has been under consideration for quite some time, and that is a national disaster insurance plan. Coverage for any natural disaster throughout the country, such as fires, earthquakes, tornadoes, drought, flooding, and hurricanes, spreading the risk throughout the nation versus individual states. Every state faces some type of natural disaster, and only properties that are at risk within each of these states would have the option of paying into the fund. It's basically similar to how FEMA works, but not just for floods. Now, I promised you I would share some ways you can help reduce your insurance premiums. But real quick, if you're finding all this helpful, why don't you click that subscribe and like button and turn your notifications on for future helpful videos if you're looking to move to the Sarasota-Manatee County area. And in no particular order, first, you can look into getting a wind mitigation certificate. I'll make sure to link my video on what this is, but basically it's extra proof that your home is built to withstand high winds and therefore not get as much damage and less of a risk. Maintaining your home is critical. Making sure windows are the most current hurricane grade windows and making sure your roof is maintained. Keep trees trimmed away from your home and your neighbor's roof and fences. You can also make sure you have your flood elevation certificate, showing what flood zone category you're in. They go from A to X, with A being the highest risk to X being no established flood risk. By the way, these can change. After serious inland flooding from Ian, there will likely be new flood maps drawn in the future. Finally, don't be afraid to ask your insurance broker to look into any new discounts or home improvements that could affect your rates. Things are constantly changing in the insurance and home improvement world. Even with all these challenges, I hear over and over from many of our northern residents how Florida's lower property taxes and lack of state income tax still make Florida a better real estate value. Not to mention the quality of life from warmer weather that lets you get out more and move your body, and easy access to some of the nation's best culture and fine arts. That's all for now, and don't forget, I'm here for you. See you in the next video.